I think it's a murky, messy pool in which a lot of rich, famous, powerful people swam in. There are lots of men who were up to no good with Epstein. I think it's time we got every bit of access to every document, to every name, to everything around Epstein.
So just on a few other things, have you heard from Donald Trump recently?
I have, yeah. We had a little text exchange last week, actually. He seems on very good form, and I'm not surprised because it was interesting to me. He went to Scotland for 4 days, barely any protests. In fact, all I saw were a lot of people rather pleased to see him. Seemed a very successful trip. He made a ton of news, as he always does. He did a big trade deal with the EU. The US economy numbers today were way better than expected. He's trying to forge peace in war-torn areas of the world, which is an unusual thing for a Republican president to be doing. He seems to have stopped the illegal immigration tsunami, as some people described it, under the Biden administration on the southern border, almost stone dead. Now, there are legitimate issues about some of the policies that, in the way he's executed them. I think on immigration and deportations, for example, he's gone too far, needs to rein that back. But if you look at Trump's first 6 months, it's very hard to not conclude, as even some of his toughest critics are now doing, that he is having a barnstorming run.
Somebody else you know very well, Rupert Murdoch, he's been your employer at various points in your career. Those two are now going to have this legal battle over the report in the Wall Street Journal about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and the birthday card. What do you think that is going to be like as a kind of legal tussle between two alpha males?
I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating. I would think that in Rupert, Donald Trump may find somebody who's not quite as quick to back down as some of the other media people that Trump has taken on. So my guess is that they will sort this out between them. They go back a long way. They've had very friendly times. They've had some not so friendly times. I think there's a mutual respect underpinning that relationship. But I was amused when Donald Trump said that Rupert should be deposed within 14 days, I think, because of concerns about his elderly state and age. If you've seen Rupert recently, you wouldn't share those concerns. He's about as smart as he was when I knew him 30 years ago.
I mean, YouTube and podcasts were one of the things that helped Donald Trump to get elected last year, or re-elected last year. I mean, what's the UK equivalent of that? Do we have the same ecosystem here in the UK?
Well, it's not as big and it's not as advanced, but I think it will be by the time the next election comes along. And you think about it in 4 years' time, I think there'll be a lot more people doing the kind of thing that I'm doing, but maybe in a much more UK-centric way. You know, ultimately, what will Newsnight look like in 5 years' time? Well, my guess is you'll be a digital-only show doing probably very good numbers, better than you're probably doing now in linear television. But I also would make a bet that in 5 years' time, there will no longer be a BBC license fee, because young people who have gravitated to shows like mine on YouTube, they're simply not going to be bullied into spending 150, 60 pounds, whatever it is a year, to avoid going to jail to watch the BBC. So you guys need to, I say this as a fan, and I say it respectfully, but you've got to wake up and smell the YouTube cappuccino.
Just in terms of other news that we've covered on this linear classic legacy Newsnight tonight, we've talked about the Epstein files and the Democrats' attempts to use this quite obscure law to get them released by the government. Do you think that's going to work? Where do you see that whole thing going?
I think the Democrats have to be very careful what they wish for here, because some of the leading lights of the Democrat Party of the last 4 decades figure very prominently in the life and times of Jeffrey Epstein. So I think they've got to be very careful. I think it's a murky, messy pool in which a lot of rich, famous, powerful people swam in. And the real disgrace is that the only person so far who's been made actually accountable for any of that is Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman. There are lots of men who were up to no good with Epstein. Everybody knows that. And I think it's time we got every bit of access to every document, to every name, to everything around Epstein, so that people can see that real accountability has been seen to happen. Because until that happens, then the conspiracy theories will run riot. And I think that they've got to be very careful, both parties, that they are seen to be utterly transparent.
Thank you very much. Lovely to chat to you.
Pleasure. Great to talk to you.